I hear Republicans talk. They say things like, we're going to make America the leader in energy. We're going to stop a war. We're going to do America first. We're going to lower inflation. Like actual real things that are positive. But look at the list of things that Democrats did. And let me ask you this before I read the list. Does this sound like they're even pro-America? Or does it sound like their intention is to destroy America? Now, I realize how crazy that sounds, but just listen to the list. So we had the whole COVID mandates, one of the most destructive things that's ever happened in America. We had the open borders. That's hard to understand except in terms of destroying the country. They seem to be anti all forms of energy. And we know that the more energy, the more successful you are. So that's anti-civilization. We know that the teachers' unions, in my opinion, are the biggest reason that children are not well educated, which means that the future is being sacrificed for the teachers' union, which is just an organ of the Democrats. We know that they're doing the Tesla protests and trying to take down one of the most innovative, forward-thinking, pro-climate companies in the United States. Not one of, maybe the greatest company in the United States. Now, how in the world do they justify that when not long ago Elon was a hero to them and it's the same car company? And it's like, oh, well, at least we got this one car company that's going to save the climate, according to them. Then you've got these activist judges, we'll talk about that, creating a constitutional crisis. Then, of course, you had DEI, which Trump is thankfully unwinding. But DEI, on paper, will destroy your country because it's a move away from competence and a move toward identity. There's no way that could work in the long run. And now we have all these swatting attacks. These are all insanely destructive. And it seems to be all they have. All they have is, let's see if we can destroy Republicans by calling them domestic terrorists. Let's see if we can destroy Trump and his entire family and his entire business. Let's see if we can destroy everything. I mean, everything they do has this characteristic that it would destroy the country. And it's hard to look at all of those things on the list. Like, these are the major things. They're not the minor things. These are the major things they're doing. It seems like they don't have any instinct for survival, and they have a great instinct to destruction. And if I were running for office, I would never let the voters forget that they were destroying a great American company. Now, the Democrats would say, well, but what about that Bud Light thing? Well, that's a little different. That's just people deciding to buy other beer. And even that didn't last long. I think Bud Light's doing fine now. But if you're actually, vandalizing people's product and creating a, danger, physical danger, if you're going to be around the Tesla building or the Chargers, that is a whole different deal. You can't compare those. So Robbie Starbuck was making this point. He said that Democrats could condemn terror attacks on Tesla with a simple statement released by the party. And elected Democrats could release individual statements about it, and they haven't done so. Any decent person would, but they refuse. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know? Just think about it. If Republicans were behind a bunch of sabotage of an American company, like actual physical sabotage, don't you think that Republicans would speak out and say, all right, that's way too far, pull it back. We don't want to support any physical, risk against anything like that. But instead, they're just going to say, well, what about January 6th? What about January 6th? Well, there were plenty of Republicans who condemned January 6th. So that's more to Starbucks' point, that Republicans are willing to condemn violence when it's, domestic violence. But just think about that. And I think Trump should actually publicly call for the leaders of the Democrat Party to condemn the violence and condemn the swatting. They should do both. They should say, we do not support swatting. We do not support any of these, not the protests, but the damage against any of these assets. I don't think they're going to do it. But certainly from a political point of view, I think Trump and the other leaders should say, here's your chance. Here's your chance to say you're not in favor of this. Otherwise, we assume you are. And I do assume they are.